Bum 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 bum. The Peter Shit Show. Bum 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 bum. So unfortunately, I injured myself earlier today, so I'm not going to be doing the swinging middle finger with the Peter Shit Show. But enough beautiful stuff about the Bismuth earlier today. I think I would like to conclude Christmas Eve with a Christmas wish that I've had for going on 13 years now, which is some equity for solosexuals and people who are single and looking. But I think people who are single and looking have it a little bit better than solosexuals. Think of it this way. I do have a coworker who is single and looking. Now, she takes time off because it's her first date in however long, and I take time off to pour bismuth crystals at home. I think most employers or whatever we're doing, right, may not be employers, but family, friends, connections, would color those two ideas very differently in their minds, right? And that's kind of unfortunate. So, for example, I was running late one day, actually, because I had underestimated how long I turned the furnace on, and I knew that would not go as a very good excuse. So I called my work, and I told them that I was seeing a friend, and I lost track of the time. It was really my furnace was on, but I knew that wouldn't fly very high. And it just goes to show that we have to be a little bit more creative, and I hate that. I wish I could tell the truth. I was raised to be honest, but oftentimes I have to be creatively honest, right? That furnace might as well be my best friend for the moment, right? And I really despise that because it really goes against my beliefs. But anyway, so this next week is obviously the week before the new year. I work at a tutoring center, and it's a slow week. A lot of my colleagues are away tending to family. I have one colleague who's, I want to say she's 72 years old, and she has some nieces and nephews she wants to spend time with. She and her husband don't have children, but they've been in a very committed relationship for the better part of half a century, just from talking to her. I got one colleague, like I mentioned, she's single, but not necessarily solosexual. So she'll probably spend the Christmas break mingling with people and looking for connections there. I got one colleague who is divorced, and the two of them share custody with some children. So Christmas will be a good time to connect. And meanwhile, I'm one of the few people who is working there. Now, I wouldn't mind that, except there's a little bit of a quirk. So, as you can imagine, Christmas week is kind of slow. And so if I bring out the calendar, I might get, let's say I get 10 hours of work during the next week, right? Which is probably the case, which is fine with me. We got students who come in who are really colorful. But let's face it, I need to recharge at some point too, right? So imagine, just for the sake of argument, I take a week off in February. And and my colleagues take this week off. They're only missing out on 10 hours of work, whereas I missed out on 30, 40 hours of work. In other words, there's a financial penalty for taking off time that's less interesting to take off or less desirable to take off, which is fine with me. I mean, as long as I get to recharge, it really doesn't matter which week I take off. What I dislike is the fact that by allowing my coworkers to have some accommodations to spend time with their family on Christmas, I get a financial hit for it. Does that seem to make sense to you guys? I mean, that sounds kind of off, right? I don't want to say unfair, but it sounds like interesting incentives, right? You get penalized for helping your colleagues. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, but I thought I would point that out, right? I'll have to see next time I have a personal matter if I should tell the truth, right? The first time I used the furnace I was showing you guys last week, I underestimated how long that thing would take, and obviously couldn't leave the house unattended with the furnace on like that, and I have to say, I lost track of time with a friend, and I'm kind of a distance away from the center. I really hated myself for having to say it that way. I really did. In a perfect world, oh my God, I got a new toy, a furnace, and I underestimated how long it takes to run. I can't really safely leave the home, period, right? In an ideal world, going out on a date with yourself should be equal to going out on a date with somebody else, or even tending to your children, right? In an ideal world, some people raise children, other people decide to raise bismuth crystals, or why not, right? I think the world kind of needs both the children and the art, right? Anyway, single lives matter. Bum, 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 bum. Bum, 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 bum. The Peter Shit Show with Peter Shit. Peter Shit Show, Peter Shit. Bum, 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 bum. The Peter Shit Show.